Okay, we are ready to start a new week. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving break. Today, this week, every day this week, it's going to be very different. Um, Dr. Perry gave all the students who come to school the opportunity to stay at home this week to make sure nobody has corona after Thanksgiving break. And so their teachers gave them just a little simple packet to do each day that they don't even have to turn in. And there's very few kids at school this week at all. And so I'm going to keep it simple with you. But the one thing that we are supposed to do, that we are going to do in every subject, is to review. And so what we're going to do in each subject this week is we're going to take questions from the benchmark, and we're going to look at the questions that you scored the lowest on. And we're going to look at them and analyze them and decide maybe what made you miss them and talk about them just a little bit. And there'll be a lesson on those questions each day, just short. You're not going to have hardly any assignments to turn in this week because the other students who are at home don't have to turn anything in, and the students who are at school don't have to turn anything in. So this is a review week. Now, listen, that doesn't mean you get to skip the lessons because you don't have to turn anything in. That means you need to spend more time listening to the lessons each day because you don't have an assignment. So listen to the lessons each day this week. It's so important because these are the things from the first 9 weeks that you didn't learn as well as you should have. And so that's why we're reviewing each one of these. And today, in ELA, we're going to look at 2 standards is what these are called. They're just the things that you're supposed to know. Now, this first one, form and use prepositional phrases. We didn't get to that. That's one of those standards that I just didn't get to with you. So I'm not worried that you scored low on that because you'll score good the next time because we will have done it. So we just didn't get to this, but we're going to look at that today. As a matter of fact, in just a couple slides from now, I'm going to read you a story that's only prepositional phrases pretty much. And so you'll have a good understanding of what a prepositional phrase is after you see that story. The second one is determine or clarify the meaning of unknown and multiple meaning words and phrases based on grade 4 reading and content, choosing flexibility from a range of strategies. Blah, 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 right? It's making sure that you understand what words mean when they're used in a sentence. So we've worked hard on that in our lessons, using context clues, looking at multiple meaning words. We've looked at that, but perhaps these words were a bit tricky. So let's take a look at our questions. Well, before we do that, I have to say this about ELA. I saw some things with your ELA benchmark scores that I wasn't really happy with. I'll be honest with you. I usually try to be positive, but I saw some things that some of you did on the ELA test, which showed me you really didn't care how you scored. So let's talk about some of these things. What I saw was the first 15, 16 questions, you did pretty well on them. You scored pretty high on those. But that last part of the test, when you started getting tired, you scored very low on the second half of the questions. Why did that happen? Well, I'm going to take a guess. You got tired of reading and just guessed because there were a lot of long passages. And you're like, I'm over it. I'm just going to guess so I can be done. Admit it. Some of you did that and it hurt your score. Maybe you didn't want to read the entire passage. You just got tired of reading, so you just skimmed it. Yeah, that's going to hurt your score. Some of you rushed through just to get finished. How do I know that? Because some of you were done with the ELA test in 15 minutes. And those people who took their time would agree with me that some of you got done way too fast. You cannot answer 35 ELA questions on several passages in 15 minutes. So you just didn't care and you just guessed, some of you. And that hurt your scores, which, in turn, it hurts my scores. So you not just hurt yourself, but you hurt me too. So some of you, though, you took your time. I know there were 4 or 5 of you who took about an hour to finish the ELA test. And you got tired. I know you did, because an hour is a long time to sit and read and answer questions. But you finished, and your scores, that those of you that took your time, were twice as high as the people, or maybe even higher than that, maybe 4 times as high as the people who rushed through it. So thank you for those of you who took your time. And I hope that those of you who were done in 15 minutes will take it more seriously next time. Here's what you don't need to do. Don't stop trying because it's hard. It was long. And I'll be honest with you, none of us likes to sit and read 15 different passages and answer questions for an hour. But that's what we've got to do. That's how we learn. That's why we're in school. So don't quit. Always try your best. All right, so here's that question that was on the test about prepositional phrases. There was only one that I saw, but it came from this story about a hummingbird. The number of ruby-throated hummingbirds is increasing due to the number of backyard feeders. It's easy to draw hummingbirds to a backyard. To a backyard's a prepositional phrase. Okay, to is the preposition. It shows a location, or it shows where it's going to a backyard. So the question asks this: what change, if any, is needed to the underlined text to a backyard? Okay, so you would have to go back and you'd have to find to a backyard. It was underlined in the text. You would have to read the sentence and see if to a backyard makes sense or if one of these other phrases makes sense. So let's read the sentence. It is easy to draw hummingbirds to a backyard. Let's replace it with some of these choices and see if it makes sense. It is easy to draw hummingbirds at a backyard. That doesn't make sense. It is easy to draw hummingbirds beside a backyard. That doesn't make sense. It's easy to draw hummingbirds on a backyard. Doesn't make sense. So this answer was no change. It's easy to draw hummingbirds to a backyard. Okay? So now on the next slide, you can watch in just a minute. You can watch me read a story. Listen to me read a story all about prepositional phrases about a fox chasing a mouse. It'll have prepositional phrases like around the house, through the barn. So the preposition tells where. Prepositional phrase tells where the action is happening. Okay? But before you get to that, listen to the next couple slides here. So two of the questions we're going to look at were about these multiple meaning words, like I said, using context clues. And so the first question said, what is the meaning of the word bustled as it is used in paragraph 9? Well, you're not going to know unless you go back and read paragraph 9 and find the word bustled. So let's see. There were elegant shops and houses, and hundreds of people bustled about. You know what I like to do when I'm trying to discover the meaning of a word that I don't know? Let's take each one of these words and put it in that sentence, and let's see if it makes sense. Hundreds of people chatted about. You don't chat about, do you? Creeped about. And I don't think they're creeping around town. Hurried about. Maybe so. Laughed about. The correct answer is hurried. Bustled means you're in a hurry. So it was a busy town. It was a busy place. There were hundreds of people hurrying around. Okay? So and if you read the rest of that paragraph, I couldn't fit the whole paragraph on here, but if you read the rest of the paragraph, you would know more about it too. I just took the sentence it was in. So go back and replace that word that's in the question and try it with the answers and see which one makes the best sense. Okay? You had another question like that. What does the word founded mean as it's used in paragraph 4? Again, you can't just guess at these. You've got to go back, find the word founded in paragraph 4. So here's the sentence founded was in. How did it all begin? Dean Kamen, an inventor, founded first for inspiration and recognition of science technology in 1989. He founded this institution. Okay, so what does that mean? Does it mean he controlled it in 1989? When it began, he controlled it. He located it in 1989. He realized it in 1989, or he started it in 1989. The correct answer is started. To found something means to start it. Okay? So you got to use your context clues. You got to go back and find that word in the sentence, read all around it, put these words in its place and see if any of them make sense. Okay? That's using context clues. Okay, today, here's what I want you to do. After you get done watching me read about the prepositional phrases, you're going to do
context clues.
A video on context clues, okay? And let's see if I can get to it. You also have
context clues.
You also have a storyline online today called Brave Irene. It's an AR test. And so your assignment for ELA today is, once you've listened to all the slides, is to go listen to this story, Brave Irene, and then go take a AR test. I'm going to look and see if you took the AR test. Go take an AR test on Brave Irene. All right. Thanks for listening today. We'll talk to you tomorrow.